One of the most closely watched upcoming primaries remaining is in New York, where incumbent Eliot Engel is facing a hard challenge from Jamaal Bowman, who's been interviewed multiple times on this channel. Those are available online. You can take a look at them. Recently, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez actually endorsed the primary challenger, and Engel has not responded well to that. Here's how he pitched her move.
This is not a dictatorship. This is the democracy. We shouldn't have one person from high, even though she's a colleague of mine, think that she can anoint whoever is elected to Congress. That's not what democracy is all about. So I'm tried and true. I've been there. I've worked hard. I've done things for people. As I said to people, 2-year term, I asked for a renewal of my contract for another 2 years.
Okay, so we're going to have a lot more on this, but he found this tweet and endorsement, the fact that she says, you know, I think he's great, he's what's needed, that is, we have now dipped our toe in the pool of dictatorship because she believes she can anoint him by endorsing him. That's a weird move.
I mean, wow, wait until he hears about how the DCCC works. I mean,
Yep.
there's like audio footage of Steny Hoyer explicitly telling people that, you know, sorry, hey, DCCC, DSCC, DNC, they've picked in these races. There's nothing we can do about it. Sorry to the primary challenger you support. I mean, that's just how that machine works. And he's like, yeah, like crying foul because it's finally going against him. And that's not even the machine. It's just outsiders. It's insurgents and progressive challengers. He just knows she is super well-liked and super popular and has a lot of sway. And he now sees that he's probably going to lose a spot. But this is, you know, also, I think you've probably talked about it, I'm sure, but the clip of him saying, like, if I didn't have a primary challenge, I wouldn't care.
100%.
And it's just like, he's just going through the motions now that he's finally forced to campaign again. He's flailing, and it's showing, like, he's just not really with it. He's just looking to coast by, and I think voters should recognize that. When you have someone talking so flippantly about their race and why they wouldn't care if they didn't have a primary challenge, do you think that person represents your interests? Do you think they actually care about you and your concerns? Do you think they're going to go into Congress and represent you? Or do you think that maybe, just maybe, they're going to go in and push their agenda or their lobbyists, or like the lobbyists they're cozy with, or their campaign donors and people like that? I think people should really, if you're in that district, seriously consider not voting for Engel, because this guy is clearly not with it. He doesn't care about the interests of the voters or constituents, and comments like that are so telling.
Yeah, 100%. Like, he was found out. The video came out. We know who he is, and we know that type of politician. We know the person who's comfortable and they're in their seat and they don't think, hey, I never really have to defend myself. General election is always going to be super simple. Primaries are generally super simple. I can just sit here for the rest of my life, taking money. I get to go to like cool lunches and dinners, and I feel important and I don't have to do anything. That's who we're trying to weed out of elected office. And the contrast could not be any stronger here. AOC, before she was actually sworn in, was protesting in the halls of Congress. Within months of being brought in, she was already changing the national dialogue about the most important issues facing America because she actually cares. She wasn't just doing it because there was a primary and she had to pretend to care for a little while. She actually cares. Eliot Engel, he now cares just about defeating Jamaal Bowman. That's pretty much it. And by the way, you know, I know he's concerned about anointing and dictatorship and all of that, and so I have unfortunate news that in April of this year, Eliot Engel was a dictator when he endorsed Joe Biden for president. Who is he to think that he can just anoint someone in the presidential No, that's how endorsements work. I endorse people all the time. I'm not a dictator. I'm barely anything.
Oh.
Anyway,
Wow.
So if he was angry about AOC, wait until he hears about the news of this morning, because Bernie Sanders has endorsed Jamaal Bowman. Now, Bernie Sanders does not necessarily endorse a lot of primary challengers to incumbent Democrats. Notably, he didn't endorse AOC, despite the fact that she'd worked on his campaign and they had that affiliation or whatever. But he is doing it here. It's entirely possible that Alexandria paved the way for Bernie to do this. Maybe he would have done it anyway. He made other endorsements. We'll talk about that in a moment. But AOC, this is leadership here. Can you imagine what Engel, Jordan, can you imagine what Engel is going to say when he gets wind of this Bernie endorsement?
Oh, I can't imagine. You got to imagine, though, he's panicking. Like, because now you have two of the most popular politicians in the country backing your primary opponent, bringing national attention to this race. And with that will come increased donations, which will allow Bowman to do more ads and get, hire more staff to get out the vote, things like that. This is huge. But it also shows like this movement isn't just built around Bernie, because like you said, AOC probably paved the way for Bernie to even do this. Bernie was the torch carrier for a little bit, inspired a new wave of progressive progressive members of Congress and elected officials around the country. And now this is continuing to grow. And it's kind of like a symbolic passing of the torch, with AOC now leading the way on endorsements. She's got her PAC that she's doing to help prop up candidates as well. I mean, this is blossoming into, I hope, a sustained progressive movement, because like this isn't just about Bernie. It's about all of us working together to call for progressive positive change. Yeah. So people like Bowman could, then pave the way for another wave. And I think I'm extremely optimistic. I'm hopeful that Bowman wins. We'll see. But yeah, I feel like people are starting to wake up.
Yeah, I hope so. And they're looking for leaders, and they're also looking for soldiers. Like, they're looking for the next wave. I saw an article. It was I think it was in the New York Times. It might have been posted. I don't know. It was is Jamaal Bowman the next AOC? And he retweeted it saying, no disrespect to my sister AOC, but I want to be the next Jamaal Bowman, which is very similar to another candidate, Nabila Islam, whose election is today. Another good progressive. Go vote for her if you're in a district. Yeah, we need Bowmans, and we need Omars, and we need all of that. And so, especially considering what happened earlier this year, that's what we need. Now, really fast, I want to give you Bowman's response to that endorsement. He said, "I'm honored to have the endorsement of Bernie Sanders, someone who's been fighting for civil rights, racial and economic justice, and on behalf of working people for his entire life. He led the way for the kind of campaign we're running, grassroots and no corporate donations." Who knows? I mean, Eliot Engel is an incumbent. You can't do traditional sort of progressive style on the ground campaigning right now. It's going to be a hard election, but he's getting a lot of new donations. He's getting a lot of attention. We could really use another big win like that. And I also wanted to mention there were other endorsements. So Bernie also endorsed Cori Bush, who's been, she's been on the network several times. That's out in Missouri's 1st District. And in addition to Cori Bush, we also have Mike Siegel in Texas's 10th District, Mondaire Jones in the 17th District of New York, and we have Charles Booker in Kentucky, the Senate race as well. AOC also endorsed him, and so that is great, because Charles Booker is going up against, just about one of the Trump-friendliest Democrats running for office this year. And by the way, Semelise Lopez, she was on the program just about a week or two ago. Bernie also endorsed her running in a New York primary too. So a lot of different candidates. If you live in some of these districts, you might want to take a look at. They've now gotten the Sanders stamp of approval. For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.